So what I like to do is take your jig, and behind the barb, this little area is where I like to hook it in. Kind of right on the bottom curve there. Lock her in tight. We'll take our thread, and I do a couple loops around the head. Then you take your tag and I cross it over and back underneath, and then just wrap along the body, and that just helps lock the thread into place. Oops. I usually go so it's level with the end of the hook. Snip that off. Just nice and tight. So now, I'm probably gonna do a couple colors on this one. Probably just like a white and pink, which is one of my favorite colors. Let's pick up my Marabou. You want something that's pretty fluffy at the end. Obviously, the fluffier it is, the more movement you're gonna get in the water. So I'm gonna do white and pink. I'll probably do white on the bottom. And same thing, your Marabou, you don't want it too long. So I usually go maybe half an inch or so past the hook shank. Otherwise, if it's too long, you're gonna get lots of nibbles and they won't necessarily take it. Unless it's a super aggressive fish. But my white base, so you tie it around kind of close to the head. Snip her off. I usually give her about 5 or 6 wraps extra. Help secure it in place. I'm just gonna add a little bit of pink. Probably gonna go on the bottom. So if you're switching to the bottom, I do the same thing. So hook it just at that hook shank. Same thing, you want just about 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch past the hook. Give her a little snip. Boop. When you think about it too, the way it's sitting right now is how it's going to sit in the water with the hook up. So the pink is going to be on top, white's going to be the bottom. So if you're messing around with different color patterns and stuff like that, that's something to think about. If you're trying to imitate like a belly of a shiner or something, which way it's going to sit in the water. Just wrap it up. And if you're curious about how the Marabou sits, it always helps to get your fingers a little bit wet. You can just kind of stroke it out a little bit. So that's kind of how it'll be. So I'll flip it back around. And then I just like to kind of tidy up the color a little bit, so I'll generally wrap it quite a bit and tie it all in together. Wrap it up, and then it kind of gives like a little bit of a collar and neck. Plus all your hairs are pretty secure now. If you want, I usually add in a little bit of, or like I'll add in some flash afterwards. So I have this stuff, it's just kind of like tinsel. And yeah, if you want a little bit of flash, I'll put like 2 or 3 strands kind of on each side. Stuff's kind of hard to work with because it has memory. And I don't really want it bending away from the body. I kind of want to bend it like in towards the tail. And if I'm adding flash, I'll usually go a little bit longer than the Marabou. Snip the tag end off as close to the head as you can. I like to do it along the center, kind of like where the colors merge. It just imitates like a lateral line on a shiner kind of thing, but it gives you a little bit extra flash. Tie her in nice and tight. I have this thing it's called a whip finisher. It's a little bit tricky to use, but a lot of tying guys recommend it, so I picked one up. You just kind of hook it here, wrap around the bottom, pull the string along the bottom, and you just spin it over. But any knot really helps. Snip that tight. And then I don't know if, I can't remember if you picked some up, but I have this UV resin. And I'll just kind of do a little bit around the edge, and you need a blacklight flashlight to harden it. Kind of 5-10 seconds. And that just helps your knot stick in place. Flip her over because our notch is on the bottom, so we just want to make sure we get that. So you don't need to wrap as much as I did around the neck. I just think it helps clean it up a little bit. That's just my personal preference. Because if you're just gluing it anyways, that's going to hold that knot in place. So there she be. That's some trout, that's some walleye candy.